Hi, my name is Alex Quibido, and in this video I'm going to be presenting ProTech Activity Manager. This is a project management solution that I built utilizing 20 years of experience as a subcontractor in the commercial building construction industry. This is the first fully automated project management solution. So we're looking at the login page, and when the project manager logs in, the first thing he's going to see is a Gantt chart that shows all of the projects currently in progress and their progress of completion and how they're tracking with other projects. Now, if you click on a project, you're going to get a list of all of the scopes for that project. I mean, this is going to be your normal view of a project's Gantt chart, where you have all of your scopes listed and completion. And if you click on a scope, you're going to get a list of all the tasks that make up each of those scopes. So this information is very useful to determine where your problems are and to figure out who you need to call. So now I'm going to go through creating a new project. So if we go to the Projects tab, click on Create New Project. We've got two options: start from scratch or use an existing project. What these templates are going to be is projects that you've built from scratch, you've executed that project, and so you're left with an accurate timeline of how long each task took. That can be used for future projects. And so if you have a project that's similar, you start with a template. Your Gantt chart's already built out with actual durations rather than forecasted durations. And the more that you use these templates, the more accurate your scheduling will be when you start a job. So if we're starting from scratch, we're going to input the project name, customer name, the working days, the working hours, whether or not pictures are required after the completion of a task, if inspection is required, lead time notification, and task approaching notification. This is going to be the defaults for the project. Okay, so then the way that we input task is going to be this Excel sheet type view. And so this is going to extend as far to the side and down as is required. The first thing you're going to do is label your scope and then assign a worker to that scope, or a subcontractor or a vendor. And then you'll add a task name, dependent task, and task description. Okay, so this is what you're going to end up with, where every column is a scope, and then every one of the blocks is an individual task to complete that scope. Now, every task in a column is assigned to the header of that column. So, for instance, all of these tasks are assigned to VAR Cohen, which is the scope of foundation. And so, like the way this Excel sheet view works, it has a default hierarchy. So all of your rows happen at the same time, and then if you drop down a row, it's going to happen after that in the hierarchy. So for instance, install drain pipes happens after you form up the slab. Now, if for some reason that hierarchy needed to change, you could just you can click on a task and change the hierarchy. You can change the dependent in the event that the default hierarchy doesn't work. Okay, moving on. So, okay, let me go back here. So these are all of your projects in progress. I want to show you how the task completion gets input. Okay, so this is the best view of the task for this project. So your worker in the field, your subcontractor is going to have a mobile application. So let's just say, so VAR, for instance. This is what they're going to see. They're going to have a mobile app. They're going to log in. And on their home screen, they're going to see the task they're currently working on. So this was engineered to allow your worker, your subcontractor, and your vendor to very quickly and efficiently input task completion data. So from the home screen, when they complete this task, they click Submit. And then if there's any pictures or videos required to supporting data for that task, and this is all set up by the project manager. This is when they would take those pictures, add the video, and they click submit. Now, what's going to happen over here is the project manager is going to get a notification that that task needs to be inspected. Now, if the task passes the inspection, then that will update on this Gantt chart here. So the project completion, the percentage of completion will change, the scope will change, and then this task will be listed as complete. Okay, and so to answer the question how it's automated, that's the answer to that question. As soon as the workers in the field submit a task and that task is accepted, the software automatically updates all of your scheduling and maintains all of the hierarchies that was built out from the beginning. And then also from the mobile app, they can see the forecasted duration of the task, the actual duration to right now, and then when the expected deadline is. So they have access to all of the information that is required for them to be successful. Now, really quickly, I'll walk through the worker in the field's interaction with the app. Okay, so they complete this task, they click submit, immediately their next task populates, and then they go to work on that. Now, in the background, the project manager has been notified that it needs to be inspected. Now, if it passes inspection, nothing changes on the worker's mobile app. They continue working on the new task. If it's rejected, the project manager is going to be prompted to input a reason why it was rejected and what needs to be fixed for it to be accepted. As soon as that's input, the worker is going to get a notification that that previous task was rejected, and it's going to override what they're currently working on, and then they'll need to go back and rework whatever it was that was wrong, and then submit it again. Okay. Now, all of that detailed description is going to be reportable later. That's all very well organized for reports in the future. All right. So let's look at reports. So there's three reports here that are incredibly valuable to the project manager. The first one is a quality report. This is going to be comparing accepted task to rejected task. Now, you can run this report for the whole project. You can run this report for one individual subcontractor, vendor, worker. You can filter whatever you need to see. But what this is going to show you is a percentage. It's a value grade. Okay, so this guy was assigned 12 tasks. 10 were accepted the first time, and 2 were rejected the first time. So that gives him a score of, I think that says 85%, okay? Meaning that his value rating is 85%. This is very crucial for determining if you want to work with that subcontractor or vendor again. And it's also a way of holding them accountable for the work that they do. Second report is the timeliness report. Now here we're going to be comparing forecasted time to actual time. Okay, so when you're building out a project, the subcontractors and vendors are going to input their own lead time, duration, and value for each task. Okay, the project manager is not going to be the one coming up with that. The worker that's going to actually be doing the work, or rather the subcontractor, they're going to be the ones that determine what duration they need to complete the task. This report is going to show us how well they did in actual time compared to what they forecasted. Very, very useful. The cost report is going to be showing you, it's going to be comparing your original contract amount to your total amount. This is going to be gathering change orders, just to keep an eye on how that's going. The custom report, any question that you have can be answered with the custom report. And so every metric in the software is available as a filter, and you can sort through whatever you need to see. Your billing report, this is going to be showing only accepted task within the time range. So what this report would be used for is for billing your customer. So you select your pay period or your time range, and then it's going to give you a list of all of the completed and accepted tasks with the supporting data. So any pictures or videos that you required them to include. Makes it really simple, keeps it all in one place. Now, I need to backtrack just one little bit for the Create New project. Bear with me, please. So right here, the project manager is going to input all these tasks, okay? The subcontractor, vendors, and the owner, they're going to have a separate platform. And this is the subcontractors, vendors, and owners platform, okay? So they'll be able to see all of the scheduling for the projects assigned to them, all the way down to the task level. So if they're trying to figure out where they are in the grand scheme of things, they have unrestricted access to that data at their fingertips anytime that they need. The projects that are assigned to them, they're going to have this list of tasks, okay? And so project manager is going to build out all the tasks that need to be completed, and then it's going to be assigned to the responsible party or the subcontractor or the vendor, and then they're going to submit it. So that's going to populate under the project. So like Newfield House, this subcontractor, all of the tasks that is assigned to them for the job. Now right here is where they're going to add the lead time, duration, and value for each of the tasks assigned to them. But then they can also assign a worker to the task. Okay, so let's break this down. General contractor assigns the task to the subcontractor. And then the subcontractor then has the ability to assign that task to one of their direct hires, or their workers, or their supervisor, or whoever it is going to be responsible for completing that task. Now, what we're looking at now would be the subcontractor's project manager's view, okay? And included in there is an ability to mark a task as complete. Maybe it was an administrative task. Maybe your worker didn't have any service for whatever reason. The subcontractor's project manager has the ability to input task completion data if required. Now, ideally, it should come from the field, but we still have an ability for them to do that here. And so the subcontractor can manage their team. This is their direct hires. These are what they'll pull from to assign tasks. And then they'll have a project team. And so for every one of the projects that's assigned to them by the general contractor, or a general contractor, or multiple general contractors, they can build out a team for each of those projects. And then for reports, the subcontractors are only going to be able to report on billing. And so this is where they'll come in here, they'll select the time range, and then they'll produce a report of all the tasks that they've completed and have been accepted, and then they can download that and send that to the GC for billing. Super simple. It's very nice. Okay, so this is the vendor, subcontractor, owner. Now, as far as the owner goes, it's not uncommon, especially on a smaller project, for the owner to be the one holding up the job. And so the owner will have access to all of these schedules, but you'll also have the ability to assign tasks to the owner the same as you could assign tasks to a subcontractor, okay? And so the owner will get notifications when their task is approaching, and then if it falls delinquent, they're also going to get notifications saying, you're now holding up the project, we need you to complete this task. That's all going to happen automatically. So project manager doesn't have to sit there and just write all the workers. The system does that for you. Okay, so next we'll talk about in-house processes. So in-house processes are only going to be available for your direct hires as a general contractor. Now, if a subcontractor or a vendor purchases the software, they'll have the same access as a general contractor would for their own business. Okay, it's kind of a rabbit trail, but in-house processes. I built out a way to very easily create, record, and transfer a process that is just for your business. Okay, and so if we add a process, you ask for the process name, and then you enter a sub process name, and then so this ideally this is done in the field or in the office or in the shop or wherever this task or this process needs to happen. You do the process in real time and then just record your steps. So you enter the task name, enter description, and let's say you're turning on a machine. So you'll say turn on machine, you enter the description, and then you'll click use camera, and then you'll video yourself pushing the right button to turn on the machine, and you'll save it. Okay, that's task one. You do that with all of the tasks in sequence as you're doing the process in real time. That's the only way that I've seen to ensure that you don't miss something. I've spent countless hours, days, months, years creating processes, and if you try and do it removed from the actual hands-on process, you always miss stuff and you set your employees up for failure. This way, you can go execute that process one time, record it in great detail as you do it, and then transfer it to your workers. Now, this is how it gets transferred to the workers. From the mobile app, under More, we have in-house processes. So as soon as you save it and say it's done, your workers, your direct hires, have access to all the processes that you created. And so you'll have, service check is the master process. And then there's sub-processes required to complete a service check. And so they can scroll through here and figure out, find the one they're having a problem with. They can view the details, and then it's a list of tasks. Okay. Now they can start on number 6. They can start on number 10. Doesn't matter. So you can also start at the beginning. This is what you're going to see. You're going to see a name of the task, a description of the task, and any pictures or videos showing you exactly how to do that task. And then when you click next, it's going to bring you up to the next task in the hierarchy, and it will ensure that all of your processes are done. There's no excuse why any employee can't execute your processes perfectly every time. This gives them the ability to do that. Okay. Next, we'll look at team management. And so my team, that's your direct hires, your employees. And then the same as a subcontractor, you'll have your project teams. So this is a list of all of your subcontractors and your vendors, your owner, and your direct hires. Everyone that's going to be assigned a task or be responsible for anything on that project, that's where your team comes from. And then subcontractor and vendor, this will be a list of all of your subcontractors and vendors that you've ever used before. This is your master list to choose from for inviting subcontractors and vendors to a project. Okay, so that is a quick overview of ProTech Activity Manager. If you have any questions or any feedback, I'd love to hear it. This project management solution will 10x a project manager because all the heavy lifting is done at the beginning in the setup. And this is a setup that has to happen anyway. But the difference is if you set it up in here, as soon as it launches, all of your data is coming in from the party that's creating the data. So first party data input. And then all of the data presentation is automated. So thank you for taking the opportunity to learn about ProTech Activity Manager, and I will look forward to hearing from you.